Why is it so important for leaders to have focus? It's a fair question. This series was created to address that. So please watch this video and subscribe to the channel, where I'll not only talk about benefits for leaders, but also the strategies to make you and your team be able to unleash their full potential. And at the end of today's video, I've provided one extra strategy that will maximize everything that we've talked about in the series. Seriously, everything. Hello, I'm Greg, and welcome back to the Corporate Zombies channel. If you've not been with us, thanks for stopping by. Please watch the video, subscribe, and share your comments down in the comments section. And please, don't forget to smash that like button. Smash it, smash it. In this three-part series, I have reinforced many of the benefits of leaders need to focus. I hope that you've been with me for the series, and I look forward to hearing some of your strategies. In this video, part 3 in the series, we're going to cover time management and the need to take a break. In part 1 of the series, we covered knowing your process as well as managing your work in progress. And last week in part 2, we covered prioritization of the work and removing distractions. So I've also mentioned at the end of the video, I'm going to have one extra strategy that really pulls all of this together. So stick with me. These are techniques I've used over many years in the corporate world, and I have learned and honed these strategies, and I am sharing them with you. And before we jump in, I just want to thank you again for joining me, as well as sharing your perspective and input down in the comments section. And also, please don't forget to smash that like button. As I've covered in the previous videos, and before we jump into discussion on the last two topics, I just wanted to reiterate on some of the benefits of that focus. First and foremost is just the ability to get stuff done. Being able to take advantage of the sense of accomplishment and of having that focus, and being able to deliver things to other people and getting to the next important task. It is a momentum builder, and it is something that you can build on. There are numerous other items, and I suggest you go back to my previous videos to catch up on all the other benefits. I will share some of those benefits as I walk through these next two strategies. So let's get to it. So our first topic is time management. So you have ironed out your process, and it is effective. You are managing the work, and you have your priorities defined. You've removed or address those distractions, and now it is getting down to the work. And you only got so many hours in a day, and that is the benefit of time management. You've got to pull all of the strategies together that we've previously covered and apply them to time management. Now, this can be really simple, and it can get really complicated. My suggestion, keep it simple, especially if you're just starting off trying to do this. First and foremost, think of those things in your day that fit into a regular cadence. For example, for me, I allocate the first really 30 minutes of my day to catching up on emails and getting out replies. If I have research that I need to do or other activities, I typically schedule that as an activity in the early afternoon, probably right after or maybe even during lunch. So that's something that you can use, and then finishing off those emails or whatever that is. But things like other interactions, phone calls, one-on-one conversations where you're talking with a person or a group of people. Best to try and optimize a time for those activities. Obviously, if you're working in a corporate environment, you're going to get a deluge of meetings depending on your environment. But if that's a challenge, make sure that you earmark time for the things that are important for you, especially as a leader, because that will set a precedent for everyone else on the team. So it's important to be able to allocate that time. It can include many, many different things. If you have a development goal, make sure you're scheduling time within your day or within your week to address those things. As a writer, one of the other things that I have to do is I have to schedule a time daily, every day, to get some writing done. Make it a regular activity. I've said this many times, practice will gain proficiency. So those things that you want to get good at, plan them on a daily basis. Make them happen so that you can hone and grow those skills. It's an important thing, and it's also something that you can recommend to the people on your team so that they have that ability. Develop and foster in them the ability to think for themselves, and giving them these strategies, and not just time management, but everything that I've covered previously, give them these types of strategies so that they can build on them and they can adopt them so they'll work best for them. Again, goal here is unleashing people's full potential. And these type of things are the things that can do that. A huge benefit of getting a daily and possibly even a weekly planner, even a monthly planner can be a good idea, so that you have the ability to visualize your day. Being able to know that you have allocated a certain amount of time for activities is extremely important and can keep you on task when things like procrastination comes up, when you're finding it difficult to remove distractions. It can be that reminder that can tell you, I have got to focus right now to get this task done. Here's a question for you. Who out there has found themselves thinking that they were going to go into an activity, spend about 30 minutes reading an article or two, maybe some few emails, and then 2-3 hours later suddenly realize that they spent all of that time? Now, it might be the most important thing you need to work on, and if it is, then your plan would account for that. But again, you gotta kind of have a plan. You gotta have something to manage your time against. And if you're not doing that, I highly, highly recommend that you get yourself disciplined. And again, demonstrate those activities to the people on your team so that they can learn from it as well. And this leads me to another facet of time management, and that is the use of time management tools. Now, I could get into a number of different tools, and in all honesty, I've tried some out here and there, and what I find works best for me, and again, my recommendation is start simple. Utilize your calendar and allocate time, block time out of your day for those essential activities. Make notes or reminders to come up when you need to look at different activities. If there's that hot email that you've got to do some work for, make that a reminder so that you can ensure that you finish that activity before the end of the day. Probably one of the things I'll throw out there, if you haven't already thought about it, is give yourself a little bit of unplanned time. That can be your flexible time where you can get things done that you didn't finish during the time you may have already allocated. Sometimes there's emails that come in that just need to get responded to. You may have a situation where you need to have a conversation with somebody on your team or a customer or something. So being able to have a little bit of a flex time in your day so that you can make it available at a moment's notice can be very helpful. And worst case scenario, you've got a little bit of extra time that you have in your day to fill it with other things that you didn't quite get done within the time you allotted. Now, one of the other big strategies I use, and I'm going to call this a time management tool, but it is, again, one of the simplest things you can do, and that is use the timer on your phone or some device that you have on your person. I typically tend to use this, especially when I am going into conversations with people, whether it be on the phone or in person. Um, Keeping in mind what the agenda is, what's the goals that you're trying to get through for that conversation, and then estimate out the amount of time. When I do that, I try to put in a couple minutes to fudge for, a little bit of chattiness or whatever, but we all have those long talkers in the environments we work in that can make a 15-minute conversation into an hour and 50-minute conversation. So being able to set a time that you need to finish up your conversation. Now, there's some people that I talk to, and I will readily acknowledge I have set a timer for this conversation. One other thing that I use, and I use this on the side, is I set a timer up that sounds like my phone ringing. Now, maybe that's not the fairest strategy, but you know what? You got to have strategies when it comes down to managing your time. And sometimes you just have to take into account that your time is more important than the people who may be monopolizing it. So be disciplined and use some of these strategies to help you. But those are two of the main tools that I use. I've tried a bunch of other ones. If anybody's really interested in talking about other time management tools or even activities related to further discussion of time management overall, please let me know down in the comments, and perhaps a future video we can get into that detail. So the number one thing that I can say about time management is keep it simple and continually look to improve and build on previous success. Taking a break? I know. Especially if you are all about getting the work done, it can be really hard to break that flow by taking a break. But I'm going to tell you, and this is something that I ignored for years, but taking a short break and thinking about the activities that you have, considering them, talking to other people, sometimes just getting away for a walk and thinking and airing out the brain can be one of the best strategies that you can do. It can give you a deeper understanding of the problem you're trying to solve, and it can give you the opportunity to take off a little bit of the pressure. It doesn't have to be a 2-week vacation in the Bahamas. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about, although taking vacation and respecting your work time from your personal time is important, but that work-life balance isn't really what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is taking time to take a break from the working activities so that you can have a little bit of breathing room to take a deep breath, make sure you're focused on the right things, and make adjustments if you need to. It's your opportunity to just reset and renegotiate your day. I highly recommend giving it a try and seeing how it can work for you. So you have gotten to this point in the video, and one of the things that I did tell you about is I was going to give you one extra strategy. And what this strategy is, and it really, again, it's simple, but if you do it and you really do it well, it can be huge. And that is review your day. Now, whether you review your workday at the end of your workday or at the end of the day is up to you. Whatever works best, whatever is going to work for you. But think about, and if you're writing down the things that you're doing, literally walk through them and evaluate yourself. How well did I do on this task or this task? And consider how you can get better. Recognize that you're a little bit too reserved in a particular area, and maybe you need to loosen up a little bit, or maybe you are too flexible with some of your time and you need to really get focused because there's something important that needs to get done and you're not doing it based on how you're managing your time. it is extremely important to have that continual feedback loop. And this is what I've learned for calling it as of late. And it's been something that I've had a mantra on. And that is, you establish these feedback loops. It's not only an opportunity for you to look at what's going on, it's an opportunity to cultivate feedback from others. So you can get feedback from other people that are either the consumers or the contributors to the work that's getting done on how to get better. Continual improvement is an immense value. If you are putting your nose to the grindstone and just grinding through that work, if you don't take time to take a step back and re-examine what you're trying to accomplish and whether or not you're being as effective as you can be, then you're doing yourself a disservice. So I highly recommend review your day, install feedback loops where you can in your process. So go back to that process and ensure you have feedback loops. But again, I think I mentioned that when I talked about the process itself. So this is a little bit bigger than that, and that is overall, look at how you're managing your day and look for opportunities when you review it to make it better. All right, so that's the end of today's video. I hope you were able to pull some value out of what we discussed today. If so, please share down in the share down in the comments section, and please ensure that you like the video, and if you don't mind, and really, please subscribe. There's going to be opportunity for future videos, and based on your feedback and the feedback of others, we're going to continue to drive value through this channel. So subscribe and continue to come back. Thanks a lot, and you have a great day.